Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Lane Kiffin pulling out just one of the more wild recruiting sequence of events that we've seen in a little bit. As Austin Simmons reclassifies to the 2023 class, looks like he's going to be enrolling with the Florida Gators. And then news breaks today that he's going to Ole Miss, still reclassifying in that 2023 class. That is massive news for the Ole Miss fans. Excited to get into Austin Simmons and what this quarterback room looks like for Ole Miss. Before we get into it again, just want to say thank you to you guys. The support you guys have shown on the recruiting trail truly does mean a lot. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Austin Simmons joins a quarterback room that is absolutely loaded with not only veteran talent with guys like Jackson Dart and Spencer Sanders who've played meaningful college football reps, but also joining Walker Howard in the 2022 class who transferred in from LSU. Now you have Austin Simmons in this 2023 class, and then you have Damon Williams, who's a very sneaky good quarterback coming in that 2024 class. Lane Kiffin recruiting the position that is most important in college football. And at this point, for Ole Miss fans, it's just a numbers game. I mean, every single quarterback we just listed is extremely talented, and one of those guys is going to figure it out and be that quarterback. And from what I'm hearing, it's Jackson Dart, and Lane Kiffin did that. Lane Kiffin said, we're going to bring in players to make this team better. Bringing in Spencer Sanders unarguably makes that team better. Although it might hurt some feelings, it brought him in and made that team better. And it sounds like out of spring, Jackson Dart rose to the occasion and kind of re-solidified himself as being that quarterback one. But for Ole Miss fans, whoever is quarterback one heading into 2023, you feel really good about because he had to earn a spot against some really other good quarterbacks in that room. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, you have to be absolutely thrilled with what this quarterback room looks like, not only in 2023, but you project this to the 2024 year, to 2025. Let's take a sneak peek to 2024. And worst case scenario, Spencer Sanders and Jackson Dart are gone. Jackson Dart maybe has a phenomenal year, goes to the NFL draft. Spencer Sanders, eligibility. Now you have Austin Simmons and Walker Howard battling it out in that 2024 season. And then you look at 2025, it could be Austin Simmons and Damon Williams and potentially Walker Howard as well. You look at the future of this quarterback room for Ole Miss, and you're feeling phenomenal about what you have in that quarterback room. What does that mean for the transfer portal as well and the recruiting class out of high school? These playmakers, these wide receivers, not only does Ole Miss have a phenomenal track record in developing top-notch wide receivers, it all of a sudden becomes a destination for top wide receivers who maybe are hitting the portal because you know you're going to have a good arm thrown to you whoever's the quarterback for Ole Miss. And so in terms of the offense in general, you have to feel just super, super excited about what this means for this Ole Miss offense, not only for the 2023 season, but in the future, because that quarterback spot, you're feeling pretty good about for the next couple years in Ole Miss. Now, on the flip side, for the Florida Gator fans, the 2023 class just seemingly cursed. And we just talked about a couple days ago about Austin Simmons reclassifying that 2023 class. And what does that mean for the quarterback room, right? Is there going to be some tension with DJ Lagway and Austin Simmons as they kind of battle it out, presumably in that for that 2024 quarterback one spot? I think the picture gets a little bit more clear. And I'm not, for Florida fans, like I don't want to sugarcoat it. You know what I mean? Like this hurts. Like Austin Simmons was a really talented dude. I think he was going to add at least some talent and depth to that room, even if he wasn't going to be the starter. But on the flip side, and if there was an optimistic lens to take a look, and that's kind of what you want to do on the recruiting trail. You want to, like, what's the best case scenario here is DJ Lagway comes in and there's no question marks about who's the guy. This is DJ Lagway's program to kind of get back on track. And there's no question about it. DJ Lagway has been the number one recruiter in the 2024 class. A lot of guys who are committed to Florida, who are seriously looking at Florida, are seriously looking at Florida because DJ Lagway is locked into Gainesville. And so fast forward 12 months, DJ Lagway comes in as kind of the quarterback of the future, undoubtedly. And that can help development. I'm always a fan of competition. And maybe they go into the transfer portal next year and get a veteran arm to compete with DJ Lagway. I was a fan of what it would look like with Austin Simmons and DJ Lagway battling it out. Two really young quarterbacks that you feel really good about, whoever wins that starting job. Now I think the picture's a little bit more clear. They're going to invest a lot of resources and time in developing DJ Lagway. He's going to get a lot of quarterback one reps next spring when he enrolls. So for Florida fans, it certainly hurts, but I do think it makes the picture a little bit more clear in terms of who's going to be your quarterback and how that's going to look. I get it. I mean, it's such a, like the 2023 class, and this is kind of just like my raw reactions here. I didn't really have any time to think about it. This 2023 class at the quarterback position is just seemingly cursed. Like with Jaden Rashada, that debacle. Now you have Austin Simmons flipping at last minute in his recruitment. It's been a wild ride for Florida. Now, that being said, I would really temper the fire Billy Napier conversation. Like it's just, this is the modern day of recruiting. This stuff is going to happen. Unfortunately, happened at that position twice in one cycle with Austin Simmons and Jaden Rashada. But you take a look at what he brought in that 2023 class. That's a damn good class. There are a lot of players who are going to play early and be impact players in that 2023 class. And you take a look at the 2024 class, I still think that's a very solid class where you have some studs on the defense side of the ball. You have DJ Lagway locked in. This is a rebuild, and I don't think a lot of Florida fans have given enough credit to Dan Mullen leaving this program in just not that great of a spot. And Billy Napier is not a guy that's going to come in and it's going to be a culture change. This is going to look different. And I think because it's going to look so different, it's going to not just take 1 year and turn this thing around. That being said, and we talked about it a little bit with Austin Simmons when we talked about Austin Simmons a couple of days ago. I really do think that this year, if you can put together a 6-6, 7-5, 8-4 season where you're just a quality SEC team, I think most Florida Gator fans wouldn't say this is going to be a SEC championship level team. I still think that, like, the future, that's what you're thinking about. So you get a bunch of those young receivers, like we mentioned, Eugene Wilson, Aiden Mazzell, Andy Jean. You get them some serious burn this year. You get guys like Kelby Collins, some burn on the defensive side of the ball. Some of those young recruits that we talked about on Thursday. I do think that when you enter in 2024, 2025, this team is going to be primed to take that step. So I know it hurts seeing this, but I do think that for Florida fans, the future is bright. Like, I do like what Billy Napier is doing. Now, if in 2025 it doesn't look any better, maybe even at the back end of 2024, that's when you start having the conversation, do we need to find a new head coach? But I do think that it's what Billy Napier is doing is building, but he's building slowly. He's building out of the high school ranks. He didn't go in. He got some guys in the transfer portal, but he didn't go in and just start grabbing every name in the transfer portal. I think Billy Napier knows what he wants to do. I want to recruit guys out of high school. I want to get them into this program, and I want to develop them. And so you have to give him a couple of years in order to do so. But I do think that in 2024 and 2025, this could be a Florida Gators team that looks drastically different than what you see in 2023 with the young talent that's going to be able to get some experience in 2023. So Florida fans, it hurts. I don't think it's necessarily like fire Billy Napier and absolutely panic like you see in some of the fans on Twitter say. Wanted to hop on, give you guys my thoughts from both the Ole Miss perspective and the Florida Gators perspective. Appreciate you guys always just showing love, whether you're an Ole Miss fan, whether you're a Florida fan, whether you're just following this like I am, a Michigan fan, just following the recruiting trail. Appreciate you guys checking the fellas out. If you do enjoy the content, of course, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.